What if everything you've been told about ADHD is only half the story? Because here's what most parents never hear from anyone. Not the pediatrician, not the school counselor, not even the specialist who handed you the diagnosis. ADHD is not just a behavior problem. It's not a discipline problem, and it's not something your child can simply choose to push through. At its root, ADHD is a nervous system problem, and once you understand that, everything changes. I'm Dr. Steve Lako with Lako Family Chiropractic, a pediatric and prenatal chiropractor here in Roswell, Georgia. Every week, I work with families navigating ADHD, focus challenges, and attention difficulties, among a lot of other things. And almost every single parent who walks through my door says the same thing. I wish someone had explained it to me this way sooner. So that's what we're doing today. We're going to talk about what's actually happening in your child's nervous system when they struggle to focus, why it matters, and what you can do and start doing about it. Let's start with the basics. When most people hear ADHD, they picture a kid who can't sit still, interrupts constantly, and can't finish anything, like bouncing off the walls. And yes, those things can be all part of it, but what's actually driving those behaviors? The answer lives in the nervous system, specifically in how the brain regulates itself. Your child's brain has a built-in control system. Think of it like a volume dial. In a well-regulated nervous system, that dial turns up when the child needs to focus and pay attention, and it turns down when it's time to rest and reset. It responds appropriately to what's happening around them. In a child with ADHD, that dial is dysregulated. It doesn't respond the way it should. It might be stuck on high, which is why some kids seem like they can never slow down, or it could just swing wildly, which is why focus feels inconsistent. Your child can spend 3 hours laser focused on something they love and then completely fall apart trying to do homework for 15 minutes. That's not laziness. That's a nervous system that isn't regulating properly. So the next question is, why does this happen? There are a lot of factors that can contribute to nervous system dysregulation. Genetics play a role, we know that, but genetics alone don't explain everything, and they certainly don't mean the child's nervous system is fixed and unchangeable. What we know from research is that stress, physical and emotional, plays a huge role in how the nervous system develops, especially in the early years of life. And that stress can start earlier than most people realize. The birth process. The birth process itself is one of the most physically demanding experiences a human being ever goes through. The forces involved, even in a normal delivery, can create stress in the nervous system that the body then has to adapt to. Add it to factors like a long or difficult labor, C-sections, vacuum or forceps use, or early interventions, and that neurological stress can compound. Once that pattern of stress is set early, the nervous system can get stuck in a state of high alert, a survival state. And a nervous system that's constantly in survival mode is not in a state where it can learn, focus, regulate emotions, or connect. This is why so many kids with ADHD also struggle with sleep. They struggle with anxiety and with emotional outbursts, with sensory sensitivities as well. These aren't separate problems. They're all coming from the same place, an overloaded nervous system that never got the chance to fully regulate. Here's why this matters so much as a parent. When ADHD is framed purely as a behavioral issue, the solutions are purely behavioral. Reward charts, consequences, medication to manage symptoms. And look, some of those things can help, and I see those help for a short amount of time. I'm not dismissing any of them, but when you understand that ADHD is fundamentally a nervous system issue, you open the door to a completely different conversation. Because now the question isn't just, how do we manage the behavior? It's how do we support the nervous system so the behavior has a chance to change? That shift of thinking is just everything. A regulated nervous system gives your child access to the part of the brain responsible for focus and decision-making, emotional control, and connection. When the nervous system is dysregulated, those functions are essentially offline. No amount of discipline or motivation can turn them back on, but nervous system support can. So what does it actually look like to support a child's nervous system? There's no single answer here because every child's different, but there are some consistent themes I see make a real difference. Movement is one of the most powerful nervous system regulators that exist. Not structured, sit still and focus movement, but free, joyful, exploratory movements. Kids with ADHD often have a deep need to move, and that need is neurological. When we let them move, we're actually helping their nervous system regulate. Sleep is another massive factor. A dysregulated nervous system often struggles to wind down, which is why so many kids with ADHD also have sleep challenges. And then the lack of sleep makes the dysregulation worse. It becomes a cycle. Supporting sleep quality, not just duration, can make a dramatic difference. Reducing sensory overload matters too. Screens, artificial lighting, noise, chaotic environments, these all add input to an already overwhelmed nervous system. Creating pockets of calm and predictability in your child's day can help their system find regulation more consistently. And then there's chiropractic care, specifically nervous system focused pediatric chiropractic care. This is where I spend most of my clinical time. When the nervous system is stuck in a stress response, gentle chiropractic adjustments can help the brain and body shift out of that state. We're not treating ADHD directly. What we're doing is creating the conditions where the nervous system can regulate itself and heal itself and function better. And what then happens, parents often notice real changes in focus, sleep, emotional regulation, and behavior. I want to leave you with this. Your child's not broken. Their nervous system is doing exactly what it learned to do. It's protecting them, but it may have gotten stuck in a pattern that isn't serving them anymore. And that pattern can change. Understanding ADHD as a nervous system issue doesn't make it simpler, but it does make it more hopeful because the nervous system is not fixed. It's adaptable. It's always changing. It can learn new patterns, and with the right support, your child can too. If you found this helpful, share with another parent who needs to hear it. And if you have questions about nervous system focused pediatric care, drop them in the comments. I read every single one.